There's been some announcements made today around the ferry, although you'll be happy to know that they still don't know how much it's going to cost, but it's definitely going to be less. But they don't know how much, but it'll definitely be less. But they don't know how much it's going to be. Let's have because we've been following this now for 18 months. Let's have a look as to what the announcement was today. Lots of questions as well about they're still saying 2029. We would have had our first IREX this year. They're still saying 2029, but how are they saying that when they haven't booked one to be built? They've got no timeline to get there, and they don't know how much it's going to cost, but they're still saying 2029.
It's never plain sailing when it comes to the country's troubled inter-islander ferry service. Understandably, the minister in charge went by air to unveil the latest developments in Picton. And staying with the maritime theme, Winston Peters said this is not our first regatta, as he revealed details about the infrastructure to accommodate the 2 new ferries, yet to be chosen. But he couldn't say how much it'll cost.
How much, Winnie? How much is it going to be? How can you as government say this is going to happen without doing budget? That doesn't sound very, we're the ones to look after the economy. You don't know how much it's going to be.
James Fleury was in Picton for the announcement.
And the rail minister far more complimentary of Cook Strait ferries than the national airline this morning.
The ferry service has achieved this year 98% punctuality, whilst Air New Zealand's on 78% punctuality, and that's why we're late.
Winston Peters announcing core plans for what he calls no-nonsense ferry infrastructure.
IREX was going to rebuild the entire road and rail marshalling yards.
Yeah, because it was sort of getting prepared for the next 50 years of growth, population increase, like that, maybe even 80 years. So yeah, it was getting ahead of the infrastructure program. So yeah, you're right, Winnie, that's what it was going to do.
Lifting the yards up metres in height.
Yep.
And adding substantial expense.
Yes.
We, in contrast, are making modest changes.
Oh.
In Picton,
we've got to always bring this back as well, right? When they say things like increasing, like, oh, it would have cost so much more, that's not the question. The question is, what would we have got for it? Not that it would have cost more. If you get half the product for 3/4 the price, then it's a terrible decision. If you get twice the product for a 25% more, it's a great decision. So don't let these guys pull the wool over your eyes by saying the expense was going to be immense. How much was it? What was it going to get us? How much are you paying now? What's that going to get us? Then you'll know whether this was a good, it wasn't, or bad decision. That's the only way to know.
New wharves and link spans or ferry connecting bridges will be built.
Pretty. That's such a pretty place. I miss it. We were over there for lunch for the honeymoon. Just in there. It was lovely.
Ferry connecting bridges will be built, while in Wellington the existing wharf will be strengthened and extended to accommodate the larger vessels.
How much?
So we have to get on and do some detailed design now based on the ship specification, and that will enable us...
Hang on. Sorry. The ship specification? What? What ship would that be? Like genuine question. Hang on. The ship's specification. What ship would that be, Chewie?
In his defense, I get what he's saying there. That when they tender out this process, they will have specifications for how long the ship will be, all of that sort of thing before it's designed. So you can actually design facilities for a ship before it's built.
And is that going to be the best use of money? Like tailoring a shipyard into a design they have to fulfill? Or would it be better use of money to give the shipyard the specifics and get them to design the best price ferry for the basic specifics?
I don't have an answer for that, but yeah.
Put it this way, once you've built the infrastructure and then you go to a company to build a ship, haven't they got you over a barrel? Because you have to build it a specific way for a specific wharf rather than building the ship first and then building the wharf to match, surely. So I'll just say again, Mr. Wellborn, what ship are we talking about?
Do some detailed design now based on the ship specification, and that will enable us to get on with planning.
It comes around 18 months after Finance Minister Nicola Willis scrapped previous IREX plans, cancelling an order for Korean-made
I don't want none of your ghost ships, bro.
Ferries, saying the cost for portside infrastructure had blown out.
The Ferrari is not the only car.
That line needs to play on loop in the 6 months leading up to the election. Every Labour, every Green, every Te Pāti Māori website, just that again and again, over and over again.
The Toyota Corolla option, the reliable option.
Earlier IREX plans would have had one of the ferries delivered by now. Now, with that project scrapped, they've yet to even decide on a new ferry building company.
Of course,
What a
we're
shit
disappointed.
show.
So they need a ferry building, a ferry terminal building company. They need a ferry building company. They have neither of them, but they're going to deliver them in 4 years. Well, we're getting close to 3 years. It's fucking July, people. 3.5 years. And they're going to deliver it cheaper, and it's going to be at least as good. Come on. Like, you know, so, look, if you believe this, I have a bridge to sell you, or maybe we can just play Find the Lady. I'll make $1 million off you.
Just to recap, that whole we don't need a Ferrari, we need just a good, reliable second-hand Corolla was always a bunch of bullshit and was almost instantly debunked by people in the industry that said, for our conditions, there are 15 ships globally that could do this. None of them are for sale. None of them. Not a single one. So there was never going to be a second-hand option. So then straight out of the gates, we still need to build a new ship. We need to pay Hyundai for all the work that they've already done and delivered nothing. And we might still have to go back to them to build the new ship anyway. So it is impossible for them to deliver what they have promised. And this government should never be allowed to forget it.
And if you'd like to get a Nicky No Boats t-shirt or hoodie or stickers, it's BHN Shop.
It's the best way to make sure that they never forget it. If those stickers are always popping up on lampposts around Parliament, that'd be great. If you want to go into the gallery in Parliament, like I'm hoping to do in August, wearing a Nicky No Boats t-shirt, you should do it.
Sounds
You
good.
need a t-shirt to be able to do it. If you plan to get thrown out of the gallery while wearing that t-shirt,
Making lots of noise.
that's how you do it. You've got to have the
That's how you do
t-shirt.
it. All right, here we go.
There won't be rail-enabled ferries for probably 4 years. That can be very disruptive, but the future is bright.
The minister wouldn't reveal the finer cost details and had no visual plans to share.
I'm confident that we're talking about saving the taxpayer billions.
Why? Why are you
Billions.
confident?
Oh.
Billions is plural. That means at least two. So you're going to spend $1 billion, you reckon? Billions. So more than one.
I wouldn't even be
What?
confident of that man finding a Werther's original in his pocket right at that moment.
Oh, no.
Let alone
I'm 100%
saving
confident.
billions.
100% confident of that. And a packet of cigarettes in his other pocket and probably some whiskey in his back. Why are you confident is the question. Why you don't have a company to build the docks. You don't have a company to build the ships. So you have no plan. Why are you confident that? And you're going to save billions, plural, billions, plural. If the original cost was $3 billion, that means what you're saying right now, Mr. Peter, what you're committing to is a cost of no more than $1 billion. And you're confident? Please, bitch.
When we find out the truth, our media are only going to have one person to ask to come back to him on. And they're going to have to be asking that question about, you said that you would save billions. Did you do it? To a fucking casket. He will nope out of this before we get ferries.
Okay, we'll keep going.
But keeping costs low is a priority, revealing the existing ferry terminals on both sides of the Cook Strait are set to stay.
IREX was going to build a
Wow.
Taj Mahal terminal building here in Picton and a Sydney Opera House in Wellington.
Picton's terminal was originally built as a temporary structure. The minister and Kiwi Rail confident it can stay for the long term.
The majority of the New Zealanders that travel on inter-islander are in their own private cars, so they're in a terminal yard.
I don't think that's true. The majority of people on the ferry are in vehicles. That's easily testable. I was on the ferry. I was on 2 ferries not that long. Oh, mind you, I wasn't on the inter-islander. I was on the Blue Bridge. But I don't think that's true. The number of people that were on there versus the number of cars, I don't think it's the majority. I really don't. We should check that. We should check that.
And they drive onto the ferry. This building is for processing foot passengers, and it's not a destination.
And fuck him.
With aging
They don't
existing
deserve those
ferries,
things.
Yeah, screw them. No problems.
And tourism on
doesn't
the
matter about
rise,
tourists.
time is crucial.
And we look forward to, I do challenge Kiwi Rail and say, well, you know, you're saying 4 years, but will it be 4 years?
The challenge set for a new connection between our two main islands. James Fleury, One News.
Look, I'm just over the horse shit, eh? Like, it's like, I mean, I get really tired of asking the media to do a decent job, but that's the only question to Mr. Peters. Why are you confident? You said billions, saving billions. That's got an S on the end, Mr. Seymour, unless it was your teeth fucking falling out. I mean, Mr. Peters. Billions is more than one. That means two. Billions,
Yep.
2 out of 3. So you're saying right here, right now, it's going to cost us no more than $1 billion? Please. I call bullshit. I think
his
Babbitt,
false
hang on.
teeth slipped.
Babbitt's got it. It's a steamboat. Of course it is. There you
Steamboat
go.
Winnie.
Steamboat. Steamboat
Why
Winnie.
is it?
You
Why
take it.
is it? Why do we have this consistent thing in this country that the New Zealand taxpayer can't have nice things?
Yeah.
Why does everything have to look like a repurposed sharing shed? Like, what is the image? Look at that terminal. That is our main bridge between, that's a form of transport. It's a state highway between the two islands. You'll have tourists going through there. You'll have New Zealand taxpayers going through there. That is what you're worth. A shitty, temporary building that looks diabolical. But New Zealand, you can't have nice things. We can't afford it. That's the consistent message. We can afford it. It makes really awkward conversations when I go golfing or when I go to the club, that the New Zealand taxpayer wants nice things. And the way that they get nice things is we take away from you, political donor. Like, this is bullshit. Like, I hate Winston's hyperbole. We're going to build the Sydney Opera House and a Taj Mahal. Were we? Were we really, you doddery old man? Or is this a pointless piece of hyperbole? Like, we weren't going to buy a Ferrari. We weren't going to buy a Corolla. We were going to buy a ferry that works for 30 years.
Or more. Or more. But your conversation there about we can have nice things just reminded me of, if people haven't seen it yet, the conversation.
Oh, fuck. Yes.
The conversation between Craig and Chloe last week. I was thinking of 2 other things, and just because you've used that words, I'll play you this. This is only like a 35-second intro to the podcast, but listen to what Chloe's got to say.
If you could sort it for the viewers and listeners, what's the one thing you'd want them to take away from this document and from the kind of the suite of new documents that you've pulled together?
We can have nice things. And we can treat our economy as though it's not a mystical kind of place that we want to wall off. It is in fact the real world in which all of us live. And it should be open to democracy in the same way that every other area of policy is. We should not let the people who are currently laughing their way to the bank, benefiting from the status quo, tell us what is possible.
Oh, you could just enjoy the credits because they're just so good. How can you not enjoy them? So Chloe Swarbrick, we can have nice things. There you go, Joe. I just wanted to put it out there for you. That episode is on,
I'm a firm believer of that. Look, while we're shouting out other amazing content creators, I'm going to shout out one that's not under the purview of the BHN media empire.
Yet. I don't know.
Paul Barlow.
Yeah.
Has put out a fantastic piece of content.
Yep.
Fabricated consent, AstroTurfs go local. We've all got local body elections going on at the moment, and there is a whole bunch of shit fuckery going on. Actors standing up, people, the cookers are still around. Paul does an excellent deep dive in it. This is well worth going to his channel and looking for it. That's Paul, the other one. Fabricated consent, AstroTurfs go local. Very, very good.